Hey everyone, let's talk about a word we hear all the time, development. It sounds so simple, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, as we're about to find out, it's way more complex and honestly, way more controversial than you might think.
This quote, man, it just cuts right to the heart of it. It's all about our dreams hitting the brick wall of reality and inequality. For some people, development is all about progress, opportunity, moving up. But for a whole lot of others, it's just about the daily grind. This is where our whole conversation really begins.
Because here's the first big thing you gotta understand about development. It is not a one-size-fits-all idea, not even close. What it means depends entirely on who you are, where you live, and what your life is like. And boom, right there, you can already see the potential for conflict. A landless worker just wants more days of work and a decent wage. But the prosperous farmer? Well, their idea of development might actually be keeping those wages low to make a bigger profit. Their goals aren't just different, they're in direct opposition.
And this example really drives the point home. Sometimes, what one person calls development is totally destructive for someone else. An industrialist looks at a new dam and sees progress, right? More electricity for factories, more economic growth. But for an Adivasi community whose ancestral land is about to be flooded, that same dam is the end of their homes, their culture, their entire way of life.
So even though these specific goals can be worlds apart, there's usually one thing everyone wants more of: money, a higher income. And for a really long time, that's pretty much how we've tried to measure how developed a country is. But as you're about to see, a single number can't possibly tell the whole story.
So, this is the classic metric, per capita income. You just take all the money a country makes in a year and divide it by the number of people. It's the main tool the World Bank uses to sort countries into buckets like rich or low income. Seems logical. But here's the thing about averages. They can be incredibly misleading.
So why are averages so tricky? Let me show you. Let's just do a little thought experiment. Imagine two very simple countries. We'll call them Country A and Country B.
Okay, check this out. The average income in both countries is exactly the same, 10,000 rupees. But would you be equally happy living in both? I don't think so. In Country A, things are spread out pretty fairly. But in Country B, you've got 4 people living in extreme poverty and 1 person who is incredibly rich. The average completely hides that massive gap.
And this quote just captures that feeling perfectly. Averages don't tell us how that economic pie is actually being sliced. Is everyone getting a reasonable piece, or is one person grabbing almost the whole thing? This is the huge, fundamental problem with using just income to measure how well a country is doing.
Because a good life, what we might call real development, is about so much more than just money. I mean, think about it. What good is a big paycheck if you don't feel safe? Or if you don't have freedom or the respect of others? Or what if the air you breathe is so polluted it's making you sick? These are the things that really matter, but they don't show up in those per capita income stats at all. Okay, so if income isn't enough to go on, how do we get a clearer picture of development? Let's look at a real-world case study from India that really proves that having more money doesn't automatically mean having a better quality of life.
So here we're comparing 2 Indian states, Haryana and Kerala. And as you can see, on average, a person in Haryana earns a good bit more than a person in Kerala.
So, case closed, right? If we just use the World Bank's main yardstick, Haryana wins, it's more developed. But what happens if we look at a different piece of the puzzle?
Well, this is where the whole story flips on its head. This chart shows the infant mortality rate. That's the number of babies who die before they even reach their first birthday. In Haryana, the richer state, that number is 30 out of every 1,000. But in Kerala, it's just 10. That is a massive, shocking difference. So what is going on here? Well, this is the key. The money in your own pocket can't buy everything you need for a good life. Kerala made a choice to invest in public things, good schools, accessible healthcare, things that benefit everyone. These public services like sanitation and basic health protect the whole community in a way that individual wealth just can't. Now, because of exactly these kinds of problems, the United Nations came up with a much smarter way to measure development. It's called the Human Development Index, or HDI, and it doesn't just look at income, it combines it with other crucial things like health and education to give us a much fuller, richer picture.
And when you start looking at the world through the HDI, you get some really surprising results. I mean, look at this. A tiny country like Sri Lanka is ranked way ahead of India. And even more amazing, countries like Bangladesh and Nepal, which have much lower incomes,
actually have better life expectancy. It just goes to show you that smart public policy can make a huge difference even if you don't have a lot of money.
But all of this, everything we've talked about, it leads us to one final, absolutely massive question. Even if we manage to achieve a high level of human development for ourselves, can we actually keep it? Can our kids and their kids enjoy the same quality of life we do?
I love this quote. It just frames this idea of sustainability so perfectly. It forces us to stop thinking just about what we want today and start thinking about the consequences of our actions for the future.
Just take groundwater as an example. It's supposed to be a renewable resource, right? But in huge parts of the world, we are pumping it out of the ground so much faster than rain can ever replace it. This is the definition of unsustainable. The progress we're making in agriculture today is being paid for by stealing water security from the next generation.
50.2. What's that number? That's the estimated number of years the world's known crude oil reserves will last if we keep burning through them at the rate we are now. 50 years. That's within the lifetime of most people listening to this right now. Our entire modern idea of development is built on something that is literally running out.
So after all that, we're left with this. If development isn't just about getting rich, if it has to be fair and equitable for everyone living today, and it has to be sustainable for all the generations that come after us, then what should our goals actually be? There's no simple answer. And that's exactly why this conversation is more urgent